So this one comes off just like so. Ooh, rechargeable batteries. So now it's going off. This was $80 at Lowe's. Anyway, so now we take a picture of this and then start unscrewing. So now I've used the stickers from the page to label all the wires that are here. My existing thermostat has wires on all those. So I have RC is jumpered to RH. And it's been a couple years since I replaced the thermostat, so I don't remember what that's about. Everything else is labeled, and then I've got two leftover wires here that have never been used in my system because I added this, 8-wire thermostat wire back when I replaced my thermostat, and our system just doesn't need 8 wires. So we'll see if those come into play here. So for this next part, I got a little bit distracted. I was using the flat blade / nail file from my tiny Swiss Army pocket knife to do pretty much everything in the project, which you could do for installing a Wyze thermostat, I suppose, but it's not the best way to go. The main thing here is just to unscrew the screw down clips that hold the wires in place. Easiest way is to unscrew each of them, and then once they're unscrewed, pull up on each wire, at least in my case with my old thermostat. Yeah, so I have it playing it at 2x speed here, and then once the wires are unscrewed, in my case there were only 2 screws that hold the thermostat housing to the wall, and they were just in the drywall. And the one on the left side was okay, but the one on the right always felt pretty loose to me, and so I really wanted to mount the Wyze thermostat properly with drywall anchors. So I kind of went down some rabbit holes trying to get that just right. Ultimately, I ended up making the hole a little too large for the anchor that I put in the top. But I did go ahead and spackle in the holes here, and you'll see some of that as we go on. And I did end up taking the Wyze mounting bracket off of the back plate and put it on so it's just like the thermostat floating on the wall without that large back plate around it. So I think it looks pretty good in the end. I don't have a video of that here yet, but I just did this to get placing for the holes. So I've made a little dust catcher here out of an old cardboard box. This is actually from a Wyze plug. I use a couple different drill bits, starting with the smallest and then working up to a 3/16. And that's made a hole just big enough. And, you know, I've also walled it out a little bit just to give me a bit more room for the plastic drywall anchor that came with it. I did the top one maybe a little too much. It slides in fairly easily. I haven't gone all the way in yet. The bottom one's a little bit tighter. Recommend going smaller than you need. You can always make it bigger, but you can't make it smaller again. Well, not easily. So we'll put those in. I need to tap that in with a hammer just to get it all the way in there. And then once the wall plate is mounted, the screws will go through, and then as they thread into that, they'll tighten up and kind of lock it into the drywall. So that's the idea, as long as I didn't make the hole too large. If I did, I'll have to get some spackle and shove it in there and then put it all back together again. But, yeah. So, got a little sidetracked. Decided to go ahead and spackle the old holes. Right there. And there. So that there won't be holes in the drywall next to the thermostat anymore. I'll probably paint over those someday when we're painting again. I figured, might as well do this right now. And I just used this drywall joint compound and an old putty knife I had laying around. Nothing special. So this is the final result. Had this installed last night. You walk up to it, the little sensor here detects that there's a person there, and the screen comes on. And you can come in and adjust the temperature that you have it set to. I have it set to heat and go up to not come on until it's 64 degrees. And you can press into click and go into other settings, play around with it. That's all covered in other people's videos that do much better at this stuff. But I wanted to show a little bit with the backplate taken off. This is what it looks like mounted against the wall. It's really not bad. It kind of just floats there. My wall is kind of a light gray, and you can see I spackled over the screw holes that were here for the previous thermostat. And when you look closely, you can definitely see it, but from more than just a few inches away, it all kind of blends in. It's not too bad. So to me, this looks and feels a lot better than the previous thermostat. If it was gonna wiggle, it would wiggle up and down. It doesn't really, just maybe a teeny bit at the top. The old one, whenever I would touch it, would wiggle side to side a lot. I mean, I guess it's got a little bit of wobble to it, but that's what you get with plastic drywall anchors. It's not bad though, and I think it should be fine. I don't feel any issues when I just come up and casually adjust it. And then of course you can do everything from the app on your phone as well. But yeah, looks pretty good.